I understand this is a sports show, but do any of you guys wear whitey tighties?
Football! Just wrapped up its Sunday slate of its 14th NFL season. The Bucs are dead. Sorry about it. The brand new Lions are alive. The Cowboys sneak by, as do the Chiefs and the Bills. The Niners seem to be atop the tops, and the NFL is just getting started. There's been teams that have already been eliminated from contention, basically. There's teams that are around that we didn't think would be around just 5 weeks ago. Ravens are in the lead in the AFC North. That's fascinating because what the Cincinnati Bengals are doing right now is amazing. Watching Joey Burrow spin the rock has become something that I think every person should seek out doing. Mr. Irrelevant? Irrelevant no longer. Brock Purdy has balled out. Brock Purdy seems to be in a perfect situation with that offense, too. Now, remember, Jimmy G had like 9 pass attempts in a championship game a couple years back, and everybody was talking about, is Jimmy G even worth paying because he doesn't have to do anything in the system? Any team can have a system that can operate and win you games. But at some point, at some moment, you're going to need a 3rd and 9. You're going to need a 3rd and 12. You're going to need a 4th and 10, 4th and 11 if you're going to want to win the Super Bowl, win the big one. So you're going to have a good quarterback. The run game obviously carries you through. Stopping the run's a big deal. Old school football seems to be in. But at some point down the stretch here, the team that's going to win a Super Bowl or the teams that are going to be in the Super Bowl are teams that have a quarterback that can fucking make a play when they need it late in the game that fucking matters late. And I think Purdy has proven he could be that guy. When he met with Saban, because he was offered to go to Alabama coming out of high school, Saban said, you're kind of undersized, you don't run the ball well, your accuracy isn't that great. And Purdy left that and said, this guy doesn't know football. This catch is fucking filthy.
Yeah, unreal.
Filthy. The Jags, maybe they're the new Jags. Are they going to win the Super Bowl this year? Absolutely not. Will they win the Super Bowl in 3 years? Potentially. I'm excited to see what Doug Peterson grows and does down there. Trevor Lawrence might be a dude too. Trevor Lawrence might be a fucking guy. We see glimpses of it. We see spurts of it. And his own teammate said last year he didn't even get a chance to experience the NFL because Urban Meyer was his coach, basically. Sawed in half. Not just drilled. Yeah. This is a Goldberg, Roman Reigns spear. His body, one of these bad boys right here, his cell for this thing would be a top 2 cell in the history of spears. I don't know if he didn't have all the
protection gear.
I don't know if he didn't or if like others work better and he needs to upgrade a little bit. But you'll see some of those older quarterbacks, they'll come out looking like they're fucking robots. Yeah, because all the shit they'll have on it, it's like a little bit much, aren't we? And then you see that hit by Mike White, you're like, on special teams, we're running fake punts on our own 27, on 4th and 7, up 7, and executing it and pulling it off. Like every coach wants that to happen.
First of all, here's what happened on that. My button, I didn't get it down fast enough, and I was saying don't run it, and Phip heard me say run it, and then before I knew it, it just hit. So it worked out great.
A service issue. That's like that commercial.
Yeah, that's right. Here's another thing that happened. These things happen during the game, but we're in that situation, and the fans are doing the wave around the stadium, and so I'm just watching, and I hear Ben Johnson's like, hey, coach, you want to I'm so focused on the wave. I said, yeah, that's fine. And I look up and we're throwing it to Panay, and I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? He said it was fine, but it worked out great.
That means the football gods are on your side. That moment happens on a basic ass. He was setting up for a cut. Wasn't even a cut. A setup for a cut, pretty much, is what happened here. Now they're 1-12 in the last 13 home games. Fucking blows his ACL, out for the rest of the year. Team probably going to fire everybody. That's what the sport is. That's why it's so unpredictable.
Football is one of the few sports, maybe the only sport, where you have to practice. One thing probably not talked about, right? He's had some hamstring issues, probably not practicing a bunch. Now you don't get all those stressors, and maybe something like that happens. I don't know.
I was definitely saddened to hear about Mike Leach's passing this morning. One of the greatest interview participants of all time.
We failed to make our coaching points and our points more compelling than their fat little girlfriends.
And it's going to be like, this weird basketball pass.
Obviously, revolutionized the college game and had a big impact on so many players' lives. You talked to a lot of guys that played for him, the Graham Harrells and all the guys from Texas Tech. They all loved him. And
kind of came out of nowhere, too. At the beginning, I thought the reports were just being ridiculous. Mike Leach was just coaching a couple weeks ago. Mike Leach was being Mike Leach just a couple weeks ago. Seemingly, life just being very normal. A guy who has committed a large portion of his life to our sport, to football, a character, a personality. Rest in peace to Mike Leach. One of the most interesting people of all time passed away.
But are you scared of dying after your ayahuasca trip? Does it make you feel better about dying?
I don't know where that question came from. Have you been sitting on that for weeks? Well, first,
no, like 2 minutes before this.
It's actually a great question. I had a major fear of death. For me personally, since I was like a young teenager, I was like, man, if the world ends and I'm 16, like I'm not going to be able to accomplish anything I want to accomplish. Ayahuasca and psilocybin actually really helped me with that and alleviated a lot of the stress around the idea of needing to accomplish things before I actually die. And when you've seen the other side, it makes the idea of death more of a passage and less of an ending, more of just kind of the next chapter of life.
Hold on. Did you just say ayahuasca makes you see the other side? Like you just said you saw death? Is that what I just heard there?
You definitely see the other side. Yeah.
What's it look like?
I guess I could change you. I guess if you.
Well, I'm not talking about life and death. I'm talking about the veil between the seen world and the unseen world.
Afterwards, you said, you don't know how many more of these you have.
You never know when it's going to be your last time playing at a place. I've had a lot of great moments in this place.
Was that just about rivalry games, big-time games of Chicago, or games as a whole?
That's about 8 different questions, so I'm trying to figure out which one I want to attack first there. You're really becoming a media personality there, Pat. All that work on game day is paying off for you, but...
Really?
It's always fun being
a shot. I feel like that was a shot. I do feel like that was a shot.
Not at all. But
yeah, seems like it.
Always fun being Chicago. Always fun winning in Soldier Field.
Travis Kelce has now reached 1,000 receiving yards in 7 straight seasons, more than doubling the next closest tight end. Statistic GOAT. Every single stat that matters from an offensive perspective, he leads everybody at the tight end position. Now, there's going to be people that hate on him because he is a road grader. It's a tight end position, me. Guys able to get in a 3-point stance, head up with a defensive end, and protect a quarterback, or create a lane for a running back. That's what tight end, not just a wide receiver. If he was just a wide receiver, he'd be WR. He's not. He's TE. I think Kelce's been making some blocks just because he isn't known as the road grading tight end. People will be able to hold that over his head forever. I don't think it's a lack of toughness or ability. I think it just hasn't been in systems that have asked him to do it as much. I think he would have if he would have been asked to do as such. Instead, he's just become the most dominant offensive tight end in the history of the game.
You see what's about to happen.
Oh, no.
Holy
shit!
Boom!
Holy fuck.
That's big time, isn't it? Boom, he's trying to spill it.
Go underneath.
Beat one, and then the second one cleans it up. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. We like physical football.
Yeah.
Thanks, AJ.
I thought this was America. I was told you were a tough guy. I was told Ohio still had grit.
We'll assume that rule will be changed, and we'll call that rule? The Ohio rule.
Yeah, make the game softer.
I didn't tell you to take it out. I didn't say take it out. I'm asking. I genuinely wondered if it was legal to blast you on the back.
You sound like a wuss, Hawk.
Whoa. Okay, cool, Con. You're the toughest guy in America then.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is it a rule or is it not? That's all I'm asking.
No, it's not a rule.
AJ, great work today, pal. You did fantastic, AJ.
Yep.
I pissed him off real bad.
Is Nick Q gonna hit some putts?
I ruined his whole day.
That looks like a blast. Look how much fun they're having. Look at that.
Yeah, Carson Daly's having a little bit too much fun.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I guess. Hide the mini hot dogs.
I will say, like, easy. Jeez, Louise. Hey, they're living their life.
What are you saying? He's a body double for Brendan Fraser?
All right. I see some reports on the internet of him. He's obviously gone through some transformations.
Yeah, and you see why he went through those transformations or no?
No.
You see the reason for why Brendan Daly, whatever the fuck his name is.
Fraser. Carson Daly.
Yeah, there it is. Makes them together. Apparently, one human was not so kind to Brendan Fraser. Can you guess who that human is? Because he's got a show on Friday nights going up against SmackDown.
The Rock?
Yeah, you can guess it. Apparently, The Rock wasn't too kind to Brendan Fraser, and he cast him aside.
I thought he had some Harvey Weinstein situations, too, where he's mad.
What's that about? There you go.
What's wrong with this show?
AJ's woke.
Devontae Parker says officials need to get on y'all's fucking jobs in an Instagram story where he did at the NFL in the IG story. Devontae Parker letting the entire league know after the concussion situation that happened the other evening on primetime football, they need to get on y'all's fucking jobs. This was alarming to happen, especially after what took place this year with Tua. Incredible teammate by Aguilar.
Yeah, it was obvious. As soon as he got up, he was stumbling, and his teammates were holding him up. That's what you got the spotters there for, the third party.
The concept seems to be there, though, right, for this whole thing? It just needs to get handled better, and how do they fix it?
You got to get the right kind of people that are going to be on the sideline or up in the booth.
Former players.
I think former players, I think it helps, but also I don't want to give them too much power, and then all of a sudden we see it's the fourth quarter, and they're pulling Patrick Mahomes out for 3 plays because they think he's concussed when he's clearly not. not.
Are all the spotters taking shits and no one's watching
And
what
are
is
the refs
happening?
not looking for that too?
The refs shouldn't have the power to send somebody out of the game.
Allegedly, Tom Pelissero is reporting the roughing the passer is up to be chatted about for either to be reviewed or to be a possible ejection. I think if it's third down and they call roughing the passer and it's an obvious punting situation, it should be reviewed because that is effectively stealing a turn. That's a turnover. There should be ticky-tack hits that everybody seemingly agrees upon.
What would they have done on that one right there? That's the one.
Review it.
I wouldn't give it, but I'm saying, would they overturn it?
Yes, I think so, right?
I hope they would.
That head-on shot where he like clearly is trying to put his hands down, but he's flying full speed, so it's not easy to do and do that. I think everybody on the internet agreed that this is not real.
I don't know if they turned this one over.
Didn't they claim even during the game, like, yeah, he tried to brace himself, he didn't make a full attempt?
There's a couple of these rules experts that are on TV that I fucking hate.
Which ones?
I'm not going to dive into
There's only like 3 of them.
There's 5 of them, I think. Here's what Micah Parsons in Von Miller chatted about.
Is it Hurts or the team?
Oh.
I think it's a little bit of both, man. I think it's system and team. I think it's a little bit of both, man, because they got a great offensive line, which helps Hurts. I mean, bro, like, I'm not trying to make no enemies. When things are off, I just can't, like, hold it in. Like, I almost got to say something.
So we're staying right on cue with all the talking points that we had. Then all of a sudden, Micah asked me a question. Micah was like, so is it Jalen Hurts or the team? And I'm like, whoa.
But the MVP race, it's always going to be a pretty good team around the player, right? I think that's everybody's point. Micah, if you want to be like, you have a pretty good fucking defense around you as well. I think the MVP is always going to come from a good team.
Question was, coming into the year, Jalen Hurts can be a good quarterback. This team can potentially go. And he's been the best player, I feel like, on the best team this year. That sounds like an MVP to me.
To put a bow on that whole thing, love Micah talking shit. But every MVP is going to be surrounded by a good team. This is awesome. This is amazing. With the fur hood, I mean, that is fantastic. And also, McDermott as a coach, seems like he's a hard-nosed dude, right? Every video I see from practice at Buffalo is a good time. The culture there seems to be a blast. Did you expect that coming in or no?
Coming here, I knew Coach McDermott was more of a hard-nosed coach. But honestly, he's all about winning. If that takes being tough, hard-nosed, he'll do that. If that takes, getting off the guys a little bit, he'll do that. Whatever it takes for us to win, that's what he's all about.
The Raiders were breaking the rules. Pro Football Talk reported the NFL will no longer allow Raiders to use a holder on kickoffs to place football on top of teams. That is what that special teams coordinator, though, thrives off of. The NFL having to be like, God damn it. You're not allowed to use the T in a fashion that nobody in the history of football has used the T. I assume the other special teams coordinators, while this was happening during the game, were just looking, going, that's not right to the, hey, Walt, the fuck, dude? Moment of silence for this ingenuity that came from Las Vegas, that'll die in Las Vegas, but had an incredibly insightful run. They were cheating a little bit, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
This ain't Iowa, Purdy.
The 12th man.
Very
You've seen about it,
eco-friendly.
we talked about it, you heard about it, right? These guys came to our place in week 2, and we beat the shit out of them, 27-7. Hey, get your pens out. Get your paper out.
That's fucking hot, coach.
Okay, I'm telling you, this is a recipe.
This
is a recipe right here.
It's that guy right up there.
The jocularity.
We're not waving in hospitals.
We are going to the Super Bowl.
The kids.
Yeah, how dare you?
Won't be able to hear. I'm just sorry, Chuck. I'm still trying to get this. Can you repeat all
Kyle.
that? Okay, equipment guys, we need the music, we need the speakers, we need it all out. All that kind of stuff. Okay, delays a game.
Come on.
We got to get the play in.
Coach,
hey, this defense, look, this defense right now, they're reeling a little bit.
Dial in, Pat.
Hey, let's get dialed in.
The guy in the back of the room is a problem.
Yeah, he is.
Okay?
He is.
Go,
You want him out of here, Coach? Let's go, Coach.
Kick him out, Coach.
We locked in, Coach. Big game
I'm
tonight.
not feeling. Bosa, I thought I told you, you got to be a leader, Nick. You got to be a leader on this team.
Yeah, AJ,
Okay,
you're boasting because that MAGA
you
hat
got to
you
show a
wear.
better example rather than jacking around in the meetings.
Yeah, get in.
Playing your Eddie Haskell bullshit.
Are you serious?
Let's go.
Is this AI, Chuck? Look at me. I'm on your shoulder now.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
about
unbelievable.
time.
Coach, you want him out of here?
Slide your ass out.
Let's get him out of
Hey,
here.
if you don't want to act right, get the fuck out.
He's going to be fine. You leave.
Sure?
Leave Nick alone. Just keep him in there.
Fine.
Clint Hurts of DC. Okay, lock it in. I've never had you guys this early.
What
Okay?
hurt is the DC?
You guys got a lot of juice, a lot of energy.
Coach
right now.
Hawk won't stop moving around the room. That's why.
What's the DC thing?
Clint Hurt
Takes
over.
Clint Hurt.
This is first. Yes, this is first.
Tony
year.
thought it was Clint.
They've had their ups and downs.
It's hard to find that DC sometimes, Coach.
Let's talk about it. They've struggled, okay, and they've talked about it after this last game. Speaking of the last game against Carolina, right?
I understand this is a sports show, but do any of you guys wear whitey tighties?
No.
You know how uncomfortable those would have to be?
Yeah, probably pretty terrible.
Yeah, I can't imagine ever doing that. Maybe as a tiny kid I did. I'm not, you know what? All the boys in the back, I'm not even going to ask you because I'm sure it's true, and there's definitely a couple in there that wear streaked whitey tighties every day that are BVDs. BVDs, like I used to find sitting on the floor in Pistol's closet.
Do they still sell
those?
those?
For life.
That's the one place where you find them, is your dad's fucking underwear drawer.
But okay, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yeah.
Wait, Pistol rocks them
Do they still make them?
No, Pistol doesn't rock them anymore because I think we gave him enough grief. Like, what are we doing here? There's a lot
giving
more,
a wedgie?
a lot more comfortable situations here.
And then in that first drive, where's the ball go for Shanahan? Purdy throws it to Kittle, and then he throws it to McCaffrey. And then he gives it back to McCaffrey. Then he gives it back to McCaffrey. Then he gives it back to McCaffrey. And then Kittle scores. It was like, oh, my God, we were in Kyle Shanahan's offensive meeting room. We knew exactly what was going to happen. And when that score takes place, after how much we saw them feeding Christian McCaffrey, I knew that the Super Boost was going to hit. I thought there's no chance that any fuckery takes us out of this one. No. Purdy was a dog, sat in the pocket. George Kittle, not only a road grader, but a fantastic receiving option. And Christian McCaffrey, watching him live and in person, and we've talked about this before. I mean, let's not even talk about the composure there of Brock Purdy with a double pump fake both ways, having his back to the defense, turning around. Now you see me, now you don't. Hitting the big Kittle, the big Iowa stud with a, hey, how you doing? Keep it moving. From Brock Purdy. I mean, just watching that team go in the first drive, I felt very good about the Super Boost.